Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, and Mario Heron. Again, back-to-back days as the Chargers are coming off the big win, 20-3 victory over the Indianapolis Colts, riding a 3-game winning streak. Most importantly, they have clinched a spot in the postseason for the first time since 2018. And people are very excited. And guys, I'm asking you right off the bat, as far as your excitement factor, when you look at what the Chargers have done. Look, they're a postseason team, and everyone's making a big deal out of it today. For me, though, I have higher goals, and I almost feel like, am I not enjoying this experience as much as I'm supposed to, or am I maybe setting the goals a little too high, expecting more than just a first round position to get into the postseason?
You're talking about the offense. You're not happy about where the offense is at right
now? I'm talking about the team. Like, as far as just when people say, what's your team? And go, I'm a Charger fan. We're going to the postseason, baby. Like, is that enough for you to say this was a successful year? Or do you feel like, hey, I'm expecting more? For me, my attitude is, yeah, playoffs is what I expected as a minimum, but I'm expecting more. This isn't enough for me as a sports fan.
Well, the Chargers' expectations were so high going into the season. You thought there'd be a kind of a cakewalk going into the playoffs. It wasn't that way at all. The fact that the Chargers are in the playoffs with 2 games left, to me, is shocking. The way I felt during the season was this team is not very good, and they turned it on at the end when it mattered most. Playing well without Derwin James, to me, is the most surprising thing about this team down the stretch. But I'm happy where they're at. If they don't win the first round of the playoffs, I will look at the season as a disappointment overall.
I completely agree. If you just look at what we expected of them to start the year versus where we're at now, it's like the congratulations, you're in the playoffs, but there should be more. If we were covering the New York Jets fans, we would simply be on a bender right now if they made the playoffs or clinched the playoffs. They overachieved. They're too young. They have talent, but it's just not all the way there yet. So to get that is a huge achievement. But no, it's the Los Angeles Chargers. You had the most players in the top 100, and we've preached that all year. You have a tier 1 quarterback. You have 2 top-level receivers. You have 2 edge rushers that are most people would say some of the best in the NFL. The expectation was higher. So yeah, should we be pumped about the playoffs? Absolutely. But we shouldn't be acting like the Jets that are happy if they just make it in. We shouldn't be acting like a mid-major college basketball team that just won the conference championships get into the tournament. You shouldn't be pumped about that. You should be going, hey, we should be here. The expectation was to be here. The expectation now is to win here and to be a top team and to be a threatening championship team.
And I'm glad to hear you guys say that, because when you say, I just want to get into the dance, and if you fall short, then, hey, that was good, we just made it in. I 100% don't feel that way. I always think your goal always is to win the championship, no matter what sport that is. I mean, the goal is to win the Super Bowl. You want to see 31 teams disappointed, and your team being the only one that's not at the end of the season. When it's all said and done, that they're able to accomplish their goal. The Chargers want to win a Super Bowl. They have not done that yet. You know, we're looking at the Chargers are now in Los Angeles. You know, they've been there since 2017. They're sharing a stadium with the team that won the Super Bowl just a year ago. The fact that the Chargers just got into the postseason and the Rams are not in the postseason this year, and they face each other on January 1st, I find it fascinating. And for Dean Spanos is not a very vocal guy, and we all saw the clips of Dean Spanos getting the game ball after they knocked off the Colts. This is kind of exciting. And so I'm kind of curious to see what happens on Sunday with the Rams and the Chargers as far as fan bases go, because you're going to look at the game on television and say, man, there's a lot of blue and a lot of gold, a lot of white in there. Well, they both share almost the same exact team colors. So you won't be able to tell exactly from watching TV who's rooting for who, but it's a home game for the Chargers. Yet if you follow anything that the Rams do, the Ram fans are trying to rally together saying, let's show the Chargers whose house it really is. And they're trying to buy up as many tickets, or encouraging Rams fans to buy up as many Charger tickets as possible for this game, to say, this is still our city, our stadium, our town. We're the Super Bowl champs. The Chargers aren't anything yet. And so this game on January 1st, all of a sudden, is extremely exciting. And the Rams will say, well, we don't have a lot to play for. You do. You're playing for a fan base. Just like, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong on this, but when Stan Kroenke played the Broncos the other day, and the Rams played, the Broncos, and they crushed them, they scored 51 points. You telling me Stan Kroenke didn't want to win that game on the schedule as much as any other game the entire season? That's his sister that owns the team. I mean, we talk about playing one-on-one basketball in the driveway with your brother and having one up on your brother. Dude, this is a national televised game. This is the NFL. This is billion-dollar money. And you're going, not only did I beat my sister team, I scored 51 points on my sister's team. You know, you got that. Those are bragging rights where you feel pretty good about yourself. For the Rams going to face the Chargers on January 1st, if I'm Stan Kroenke, I'm like, you guys better show up in this game. This is the one game that I really want to win to show this is still our town, even though it wasn't our year.
They're so mad that the Broncos suck. They fired their coach. They couldn't even wait 2 more games to get rid of him. That's how upset they were. The Chargers and Rams have one thing in common. They just are coming off of bye weeks. You know, both teams didn't play anybody. The Colts and the Broncos are the 2 worst teams in the NFL, in my opinion. The Texans beat the Titans, so that makes them the 2 worst teams. I can't believe the Rams are winning with Baker Mayfield. When I was watching him on the Browns and even the Panthers, I'm thinking he's 32 out of 32. That's where Baker Mayfield is right now. The fact that he's willing the Rams to wins with all their great players on the IR is amazing. I don't know how concerned people are across the country in Indiana or Philadelphia about the Chargers and Rams. I don't know if they care as much.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of a game that I don't think it gets much attraction outside of California. I think some people would say, well, a Rams fan is just a Rams fan in the moment, you know, where it's like because they're winning. You know, the Rams fan that was at the Super Bowl last year is probably a Charger fan right now because they're in the playoffs. So I think that's kind of like the feeling outside of California, just speaking where I am right now. The Rams are crazy interesting because it's like, what are we going to get? Is this a team that's still fighting? And if you look at last week, yes, team's still fighting, and they'd love to upset the Chargers and kind of ruin their day. But at the same time, it's like, what really can they upset? Chargers have a playoff spot. You know, so I think that's interesting too. It's like, what's going to be our game plan as much as what's going to be their game plan? Because we have something in the future. They do not. They have a quarterback that they signed 3 weeks ago that's playing way above expectation. Might be one of the only people left in this world that's like still a Baker fan. So to me, it's like a game of so much mystery because it's like, I don't know what to expect from the Chargers of what they're going to do. And I really don't know what to expect from McVay, who, let's be honest, none of us would be surprised if at the end of the year he goes, hey, I'm going in the booth, going in the TV booth. I'll see you, Rams. Have fun trying to rebuild with zero draft picks going forward.
So here it's interesting when you see 2 teams in the same city. So, for instance, when I first got into broadcasting and I'm sitting there covering the NBA, and the Lakers would play the Clippers, and at the time, the Clippers were honestly one of the worst teams in the league, just absolutely terrible. So you sit there and you look at the whole process with what the Lakers and Clippers have, and the Lakers would win, and they'd walk down the same hallway. And I remember the Clipper guys would walk past the Laker locker room, and Nick Van Exel would yell, hey, shake your ass back to Compton. That's what they would always scream that at the Clippers. And guys would sit there and get upset, you know, and go, you know, hey, what are you doing? You know, how dare you sit there and go that route? Well, you know, these guys know each other. Derwin James knows Jalen Ramsey, right? You know, these guys know each other. I mean, at the same time, right? Both guys are Florida State guys. They're both in the same city. They're both extremely good and talented. There's a pride factor, you know, of this is my city. This is no way that we're going to sit there and roll over for the Chargers on Sunday. I honestly believe this is going to be one of the more exciting games. I know it was flexed out of Sunday Night Football, but I think it's still going to be one of the more exciting games, hard-fought games, because it's a hate game.
I don't think it's a hate game. I don't think
you don't think so?
I don't think it's a hate game.
No, not at all. I don't think these teams hate each other at all.
Let me ask you this question. Okay, I love the fact that you went against me on this one. The Rams' effort against the Broncos was A-plus effort the other day, right? That was everything they had. I mean, all the stars are gone. Cooper Kupp is gone. Stafford's gone. Aaron Donald's gone. Everyone that could play for the Rams is gone outside of Jalen Ramsey when you look at stars. And yet the Rams gave maybe their best effort the entire season against the Broncos. I expect the Rams to bring that same exact effort against the Chargers on Sunday. You don't agree with me?
No, I agree with you on that part. I think they're going to bring everything because they've been playing really hard the last few weeks. But if you're going to talk about the Rams rivals, you know, you're going to put like the 49ers and the Seahawks and the Chargers aren't in the top 5. In my opinion, do you disagree? Do you think the Chargers are one of the top 5 teams the Rams dislike?
When the Chargers came to LA, they put signs up all over Los Angeles saying "Fight for Los Angeles." It was a battle for LA.
Cared.
It was a fight for LA.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. It was a horrible idea. It was a bad idea.
Let's be honest. The Rams fans hate the Raider fans. The Ram fans don't really care about the Charger fans. It's been like that my entire life with the Padres. oh, we hate the Dodgers. The Dodgers always looked at the Padres as their little brothers. It wasn't the same way. Charger fans might feel a certain way about the Rams. We're in their stadium, we're renters, and that whole thing. But if you're a Rams fan, you're like, well, what are the Chargers? They haven't even won the Super Bowl. We're Super Bowl champs.
I agree with you, Josh. I don't think it's a hate game at all. Like on either side. I don't think it's anything. I think it's just more of. I think it also goes matters too. They're not in the same conference, right? Like Chargers is AFC, Rams is NFC, and that's a big difference. Where Clippers, Lakers, they hate each other. Well, they're in the same conference and they play each other good. Often you have Patrick Beverly, who's saying like, "This is our city," whatever like that, and you're like, "Oh, all right, buddy." So I think that's like the difference is like there's not guys in the media going, like Derwin James is not saying in an interview, LA is Bolt City. It's not that. Like there's nothing like that. There's not Stafford going, no, LA is a Ram city. Like there is none of that. So I think, yeah, it's fun. It's a fun storyline that's two teams in the same city playing against each other. But at the same time, there is no rivalry. There is no history there. It's just kind of something new, I would say. It's something new that's still getting adapted to. Now, later on, could there be? Yeah, maybe if we get a chirpy quarterback coming in there, or Baker Mayfield's like, yeah, it's time to go kick around the little brother, which wouldn't surprise me, I would say. Then I would say, okay, here's the energy. Here's the rivalry. Here's the hatred coming. But right now, I would say it's just convenient or crazy that two teams play each other in the same city.
So, Josh, you just used the example of the Padres being like the little brother to the Dodgers. I've lived in both cities, and Josh is right on this one thing, whereas LA doesn't hate San Diego. LA kind of looked at San Diego like they look at Santa Barbara or Palm Springs. It's a great place to go for a weekend. It's not their rival. Whereas when I moved to San Diego, people are like, oh, I hate LA. I can't stand them. I'm like, where's all this animosity coming from? But let's be honest. You look at the Chargers as the little brother to the Rams, meaning the Rams are really the oldest Los Angeles pro franchise. I know they moved to St. Louis, but they started up way before any other team, before the Dodgers, before the Lakers, before anybody else. And then they left, came back, and they come back, and they've been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1, whereas the Chargers haven't done that. So the Chargers are their players, their organization looking at it as, hey, we got to get on the map. We have to make our basically our stake and say this is ours, and we deserve the credit that the Rams are getting. And we talked about this, guys, in September when we did our very first show. The Charger fan base is the younger fan base, supposed to be the hip fan base, and you can put that with Justin Herbert, whereas the Rams fan base is an established older fan base. The young people like the Chargers, the established sports fans like the Rams. I just think there's more there than what you guys think, and maybe I'm wrong, and I want to get an idea. I think it will be a really aggressive game on Sunday. And if it's not, I'll tell you guys I was wrong.
Yeah, I don't doubt it's going to be aggressive. Here's the argument back. I'm playing devil's advocate. The argument against the Chargers is you haven't won anything. Okay, so when you say Justin Herbert, do you know Justin Herbert's thrown 5,000 yards, and the Rams are like, you haven't won anything. It doesn't mean anything. The Cincinnati Bengals, the argument's always, Justin Herbert's the best quarterback in his class. Bengal fans are like, he hasn't made the playoffs. Tua fans are like, look at his winning percentage. I'm so happy that Justin Herbert has made the playoffs and he can shut these people up. But it's the same thing with the Rams. You cannot say anything until you win. And I have to take that humbly as a fan. I got to take that on the chin, if you will. We can't talk. I mean, seriously, we cannot talk until we win in the playoffs. So when Ram fans or the Bengal fans or Raiders, whatever want to talk about the Chargers, you guys aren't anything. We really aren't until we win. So we got to kind of just stay humble and stay the course, because the Rams can talk all they want. They won. They suck this year, but they're still the Super Bowl champs until there's another team soon.
I'm going to steal a quote from be patient with me. Stay with me on this one. I'm going to steal a quote from a Bravo show that my mom watches. And the quote is, honey, you're not important enough to hate. That's kind of like how if you look at, you guys mentioned, San Diego and Los Angeles, and then look at Rams, Chargers. It's that line. Like, honey, you're not important enough to hate. You're not important enough to care about. You're not important enough to have this rivalry for. We're not yet. That's just saying, Dave, you always say that, go look at the Chargers trophy case. There's a spider web in there. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that's just what it is. Like, I agree with you, Josh. It's one of those, you just got a lot of talent, a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to brag about, a lot of stuff to talk smack about. But you also got to realize you got to also reel it in because nothing's came yet. And you're still along this journey of, yeah, something can happen, but you don't want to be the guy that is on the what ifs or it's on the what could have been. You never want to be that guy. I've been that guy. You don't want to be that guy. That's never a fun one. And it just leads to just pressing times.
So, Josh, you just mentioned right there, Justin Herbert finally can say, hey, I'm going to play a postseason game. And that was the one thing that really was a big knock against Justin Herbert. I got to tell you, before we jump into this playoff thing, this morning, first guy I saw was a longtime Charger season ticket holder and still is. And he said to me, Mario was 100% right when he said on yesterday's show that the Chargers win against the Colts was like the Chicago Bears, meaning it was all defense. Wasn't pretty how you put points on the scoreboard, but it was the Chicago Bears. And saying, you know, this wasn't what I've been used to as a Charger fan. I mean, there's one thing of winning and then winning pretty. The Chargers would a lot of times lose pretty, where they were very exciting and then wouldn't win those games. It's you know, you want the combination of both, of just that electric offense and see everything that happens. But it was interesting that when he said that to me, and I said, yeah, I thought you were absolutely right on that. I'm kind of curious to see what we see on which team is going to be the more exciting team on Sunday. Baker Mayfield is a gunslinger, right? Baker Mayfield's not just playing for wins for the Rams. He's playing for his NFL career, whether that means he's looking for a big contract with the Rams after the season, or he's looking to showcase a starting position with another NFL team to show that he can play, because in 3 games, he's played very well in 2 of them. The one on Monday Night Football against the Packers was terrible. It looked like old Baker Mayfield. But he has something to prove, and so do all these other guys, you know, the no-name guys that the Rams have. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I would say that about every Charger game. I'm obviously looking forward because the Chargers have something to play for. This time, honestly, I believe they're playing for what they think in their mind is bragging rights to the city. And so it'll be interesting.
I want to see the Chargers build on the chemistry they have on offense, try to get better, and keep Justin Herbert healthy. If he gets hurt even a little bit, I'm gonna be so pissed off that he was even in the game when you know you kind of don't need him. Chase Daniel maybe can get in there and try to play football again, because last time he went in there, he looked like Nick Foles. So the thing I'm looking for, horrible. The thing I'm looking for is the Bengals remaining 2 games. They have the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, which is going to be awesome. Cannot wait for that. And then they have the Baltimore Ravens. And that is absolutely 100% the team I want to play if I'm the LA Chargers, is the Baltimore Ravens. Talk about pretenders. They are the Minnesota Vikings of the AFC. They are nothing. I would love to play the Ravens. The last time we played the Ravens in Baltimore in the playoffs, we beat the hell out of Lamar Jackson his rookie year. I think it was his rookie year. And it was awesome. I would love to do that again. So if I'm the Chargers, I'm definitely looking for the Bengals remaining 2 games, because I do not want to go to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's really interesting, too, to look at the Ravens and go, okay, where are you going to fall and how are you going to affect the Chargers, right? Because, you know, Lamar Jackson's still hurt. It seems as if he will probably be out until the playoffs, unless they really need him to come back. You know, Ravens have the Steelers. Steelers are a weird team that have like a weird window into the playoffs. Like, it's like, you know, the 5%, the Jim Carrey gif, you know, verbal gif of him saying, so you told me there's a chance. That's Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin's going to get those guys up and ready to play against their rival. So it's interesting to see that. And then see him play Cincy. It's like, okay, that could be for the division title. You don't know about that at all. So Ravens is like the team for me to watch and go, okay, how are you going to affect our seeding? Can Chargers move up on them if they win out? And then they face possibly Jacksonville, which I'm guessing would beat Tennessee come next week. And then we have a rematch against Jacksonville, which, by the way, I would take, because I don't think they can do what they did against us again. So Ravens are the team that I will be glued to the TV to watch, just being like, what the hell are you going to do to muck everything up? Because they could do a lot of damage and affect where the Chargers go, but they also could just go, we're just going to stay put. So it's very interesting.
No, it's very exciting. So as I said, let's break down exactly the way the playoffs are going to go. All right. So, you know, for the next 10 minutes or so, I kind of want to talk a little playoff football, because we're all looking ahead now that we know we're in the postseason and we see how things breakdown. Right now, they're on pace, meaning the Chargers to face Cincinnati. It's funny that that's the one team that we said weeks ago we're kind of nervous about playing. I'll be honest with you, that I'm with you guys. You guys are the ones that said it first, that Cincinnati is the last team you want to face. Every other team, I'd like their chances. It's weird when you look at the Buffalo Bills, who have the number 1 seed in the AFC right now, and Josh Allen's not playing as well as Josh Allen played at the beginning of the year. He's actually struggling. You look at the lack of running game. You look at the obviously defense without Von Miller. You look at other defensive players that they're missing, that the Bills right now are going into the postseason kind of in a bad spot, whereas I think the Chargers are a team that is getting better, as we talk about Bosa even coming back. But right now, guys, when you look at the Bills as the number 1 seed, when you look at the listings and the guys that you already know are in the playoff picture for the AFC, who's the number 1 team to you right now in the AFC?
Cincinnati Bengals.
Better than the Chiefs, even.
Better than the Chiefs. I really think
Mario,
so.
you agree?
Ask me on Monday night, because right now I'm still gonna say Buffalo, but it's
over
that,
KC
I
too.
agree.
I'm shocked that you said that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. So you look at Kansas City, and Kansas City has obviously been there before, and you can't seem to shake the Chiefs. But right now, you still consider Buffalo as a top team, even better than KC.
Yeah, I would give them that. I just go back to their defense. When you look at the studs on the defense side of the ball versus the Chiefs, I know that arguably probably the best player in the NFL is on the other side of the ball. But at the end of the day, you got to have some type of defense. Buffalo Bills have a defense, and they're my number 1. I think Bengals, and to your point, Josh, Bengals are tied for my number 2 with Chiefs. I think they're on the exact same level as Chiefs. I don't know who to put higher, to be honest with you.
So it's so interesting when you look at Cincinnati, the way they started the season. Remember, Cincinnati started the season 0-2. And you see this all the time in the NFL. Teams that lose the Super Bowl come back the next year and fall apart. Well, the team that fell apart was the team that actually won the Super Bowl. The Bengals started off 0-2 and then have gone on a crazy stretch. Absolutely amazing how well they've played. It's hard for me to throw Kansas City aside. As much as I dislike the Chiefs, it's harder for me to throw them away. I mean, when you talk about how things change week by week and even especially month by month. I mean, look at I'll throw 2 teams at you where things look completely different now than they did a month ago. One's the Titans, who look like they won't even make the postseason. Another team is the Dolphins, right, where things are way up in there. And then you go back to when we picked what we thought were our MVP, and I think my guy was Tua. I think, Josh, do you have Jalen or Mahomes? You know?
I'm Mahomes. Yeah.
In Mahomes, and I don't know, Mario. I can't remember who you had either.
I think I said Allen.
Okay, Allen. And so you go, and obviously my guy's out. You know, my guy's not it. And right now, I think your MVP candidates would be, you know, Burrow, not in any order. Burrow, Mahomes, and Hurts are your MVP candidates. You know, Josh Allen's out of the race.
Look, here's my reasoning behind the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chiefs are great. I'm not going to act like the Chiefs aren't going to be incredibly tough to beat. But the Cincinnati Bengals are the Chargers, but they finish games. They have great running back. They have a legit 2 number 1 receivers, and Tyler Boyd is a number 2 receiver, even though he's a number 3 on that team. And they have a superstar quarterback. They're the only team that mirrors the Chargers in that aspect, and their defense gets it done when it matters. Cincinnati is a team that's built for the playoffs. You saw it last year when they beat the Chiefs. Nobody wants to play against the Bengals. I would like to go to Arrowhead just to play against the Chiefs for a 3rd time, but Cincinnati, honest to God, is the last team I want to play. Buffalo, I think, is kind of vulnerable right now. You've seen them recently, but I'm going over all the teams here. But the Ravens are the team I want to play the most, ahead of the Jaguars. Even though the Jaguars beat our ass, and I think we could beat them, the Ravens, I think, are the worst team in the playoff picture right now. And I'm writing off the Dolphins. If they don't have Tua, they don't have a chance.
Yeah, I'm not even Dolphins, or if it's Patriots end up getting there, that you're not even in my mind. Like, I have zero faith in you. You don't have a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you have nothing. It's just simple. Josh, I don't think you could have said it any better. The Bengals are the Chargers, but they finish games. That's like we could end the pod right now. Like that. That's all you need to know. Like that's exactly what the Bengals are. They're the Chargers, but they finish games. They finish the drives. They finish in the red zone. Like that's what they are. I think the factor of Cincy going, we were so close last year too, worries me. And obviously I don't know Burrow personally, but what it seems like is he has the competitive nature of someone in the tone of Jordan, where they were just so F you down your throat. They want to win and they will do anything to win. That scares the living crap out of me more than a Mahomes would, just for the sole reason of he will do anything to win. He will put his body on the line. You see how many hits he took last year. We just stayed in the pocket and still delivered. That to me is the full reason of, yeah, I am all set facing against you. And the Bills, the reason why I don't really want to play them at all is I'm Buffalo at home. See ya in the playoffs. You're not winning. It's a done deal. You're not winning. You're not coming.
It might be the smartest thing you said, Josh, as far as that the Chargers are the Bengals. I think all of us agree with that now that you pointed that out. I think if you're a columnist for a major newspaper, this would be the column you would write on why they are. I mean, you look at the comparison between the quarterbacks, you look at the comparison between the coaches, you look at the comparison between the wide receiver core, you look even the running back position. There's so many things you can look at. And at the same time, I think Charger fans would agree with what you're saying, Josh, and saying that they're very comparable. I wonder what Bengal fans would say if you told them that. If someone said that to a Cincinnati, fan base and said, "Hey, guess what? The Chargers believe they're you, but they haven't been able to finish games." Would they take that as a compliment, or would they say, "You're out of your mind? The Bengals are much better than what the Chargers are"?
The second one, you're out of your mind. What have the Chargers done in the playoffs? Going back to what I said earlier. But the Chargers are the Bengals from all the reasons I said. But nobody looks at the Chargers the way we look at the Chargers. It's just a fact of the matter. Nobody in Cincinnati thinks the Chargers are anything, which is also a good thing for the Chargers because you're going to be a huge underdog. But I wouldn't want to play the Chargers. If I was the Bengals, I'd be hoping I'm playing a totally different team. Who wants to play against Justin Herbert? That's just a nightmare in itself.
Would you? So if since he locks up 3 seed, let's say clinch the division, whatever, and Baltimore loses out and they go 6, do you think the Bengals still would rather play the Ravens a third time over Chargers first time?
100%.
Okay.
Because, look at the weapons, right? How many different ways can a team beat you? The Chargers, with the weapons they have, they can beat you probably 4 different ways. Whereas, come on, the Ravens are a 2-man team. It's Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson. That's it. That's all they got. And J.K. Dobbins, man, is hurt all the time. You can't rely on J.K. Dobbins.
Not at all. I screwed my fantasy team. I want to bring up something. I want to bring up something that Dave brought up, and I think it's a genius idea. If you were running the playoff format, how would you do it? You did it dodgeball style, right? The way you want it done. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Mario might be confused, but what I said, it's kind of like even in basketball when you play put out and you throw the ball to the guy that you think you can eliminate first. When everyone's standing around, you go, "All right, you and me one-on-one." You get to pick your opponent, and that's the way it should be. If you have the number 1 seed, you should be able to pick your opponent. And the number 2 seed gets to pick his opponent. Number 3 seed gets to pick his opponent. Whatever's left, and you put yourself in that situation. You earned it. That's what you get for playing 17 games throughout the season. And you're going, "Man, I don't want to face." Like, honestly, God, if you're the Bengals, you're going, "How do we end up with the goddamn Chargers?" I don't want the Chargers. I want the Ravens. I want the Dolphins. I don't want the Chargers. And then you get to pick who you want to face. The higher seed should be able to pick of in order of what's left to who they want to face. And you know why it makes it great too, Mario? It's the biggest sign of disrespect.
Oh, it's the biggest FU in the book. It is the biggest double bird in the books.
We talk about bulletin board material. They picked you. They said you are the easiest team on paper to get by to the next round. That is, how does TV miss out on this? In every sport, it should be this way. It should be the NBA, Major League Baseball. It should be this way in the NFL. Dude, I'm all for it in March Madness. I'm going, dude, we want those guys.
Yes.
Holy cow. How great would that be? It would make sports much better.
I want the press conference because you have to give a reason why you picked them. Yeah. Like, we want to play the Jacksonville Jaguars because we don't think they're very good. And then, boom, big game already. Like, we're hyped.
Exactly.
Be sick. Yeah.
You get like Eagles pick Giants to be like, "I think Daniel Jones is a loser." Like, just something like that. Great stuff.
Here's the deal. I always joke around about 2 things in the NFL that always kind of crack me up. One is when you hear the announcers go, "Man, this is a physical game." Well, no S, dude. It's always a physical game. It's tackle football, you know. But there are some games that you look at and go, man, there's like there's a lot of hits, like big time hits, like Dorian James type hits. Like when the Ravens play the Steelers, every one of those games feels that way.
Yeah.
But then some games do seem more physical. And the other one is the bulletin board material, which used to drive me crazy. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be giving 100% every week. What's this bulletin board material stuff? No matter what you say, I was always going to give my best effort. But when Josh was at Alabama, he said there were quotes all over the weight room and stuff from the other team ripping the hell out of Alabama. And Josh, would say, because I don't even know if 50% of those are true. But the guys would get fired up. They're getting ready to bench, and they're sitting there saying Jalen Hurts is soft. Oh, it's on. Whether that's true or not, the guys fell for it. The guys fell for bulletin board material. I've done it as a coach. I've made up crazy stuff that I've told teams, and we win. And so I understand the power of the mind of when you get pissed off or disrespected, it is on.
It's the old Michael Jordan where he would make up things that guys said to him when he played against.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just so to get his edge going. And it's just
the Bradford Smith,
maybe
remember?
Yeah. Maybe a little psychotic, but whatever gets you there. I'm all for it. But get us a win. Maybe the Bulls can do that and not suck. I mean, if we did do the playoff format too, the one you're suggesting, Dave, how fast would Miami get taken? Like it's
quick.
Very clear.
Quick.
Without hesitation, it is Miami Dolphins that you want to play right now.
Okay, so here you go. The three worst teams that people would want to face would be Jags, Ravens, Dolphins. Not in that order, but those would be the three bottom ones, right? People would stay away from Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Kansas City, right?
Yeah,
and then the Chargers would be hanging out.
I think we'd be tied. I think we'd be tied with Jacksonville, to be honest. With how other people looking at Jacksonville, I think we'd be tied with Jacksonville.
Here's the interesting thing to me, in my opinion, about Jacksonville is, forget about what they did to the Chargers when they came to LA. I honestly believe the Chargers underestimated the Jaguars. I think a lot of teams have, and then ended up leaving with the losses, as we're seeing the Titans, the Cowboys, the Chargers all did the same thing against Jacksonville. They have a quarterback that's finally starting to play up to what they thought he was capable of doing. But, dude, let's be honest. They got a coach that is a winning coach. Doug Peterson is a guy that has a history of winning. They got the right coach. Urban Meyer was a disaster. Look at it. A year later, Doug Peterson looks like one of the better coaches in the league, and now he's up for a Coach of the Year candidate award in his first year with Jacksonville.
Yeah. Who would you rather play if you're the Chargers, the Jaguars or the Ravens? What I talked about earlier. Who do you pick?
I take the Ravens. I agree. I take the Ravens. You know what? Because in my opinion, the Jags have something going right now, which is hard, and the Jaguars now believe in themselves. The Jaguars aren't doing the poor us deal, and we're just trying to make it through another season, and maybe down the road it might be our year. The Jags honestly believe now this is our year. We could beat anybody is what they think. And their fan base is finally freaking out because it's been, I think, since 2016 or something that with Blake Bortles that they did anything in the postseason, that all of a sudden the Jags are going, hey, this is what we're talking about. And as much as people goof on the Jags and Jacksonville, they have an owner that is seriously invested. All the talk of them going to England and moving away, I think he invested something like $250 million into that stadium. Like he says, we aren't going anywhere. We're doing everything we can to make it work here.
So I'm going to disagree with you, Dave.
Okay.
I would take Jacksonville, but hear me out.
Over Baltimore?
The play? Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And my reason is, so my first thing I thought was, okay, I'm going to think about QBs. So you have a second-year QB going into the playoffs. And then on top of that, all of your top players are extremely young. Extremely young. Your top receiver, Christian Kirk, was at Arizona. They barely sniffed or even came close to the playoffs. So I think of that. And then
Zay Jones.
Yeah. And then obviously
Doug
Peterson.
A stud. Yeah. Not a stud.
And then the other thing you have is Doug Peterson, Super Bowl champion with Nick Foles. Does worry, but still, it's like Trevor Lawrence, who started off the year not too well. It's going to be in his first playoff. And the other side, you have, again, Super Bowl winning coach, been there for a long time. We also have Lamar Jackson, who will probably be 100% healthy when it comes to this, with probably the third best tight end in the NFL. And on top of that, still MVP year. Not MVP year, I'm sorry, contract year. I messed that up. On a contract year and a playoffs bright spot with experience in the playoffs. So that's the thing where I'm like, okay, I'd rather take second-year QB, no experience playoffs against my quarterback that's first time in the playoffs than veteran head coach, Super Bowl. I know Doug, but still, veteran head coach, Super Bowl with a quarterback that on a contract year who's going to give it us all one last time and has experience in this moment.
It's tough, dude, because Trevor Lawrence is the guy I've always said if he gets it going, he's going to be the guy you don't want to face.
Yeah,
I just think the Jaguars have more talent. You watch the Ravens play; it's like the Chicago Bears, dude. That team is bad. And I'm sorry, Mario. The team is bad, dude. I've never. You know how you see teams rely on like one guy. Without Lamar Jackson, they're relying on Justin Tucker. They're like, let's get it past the 40, and we're just going to get 3. It's the craziest football of all time. The other thing that scares me, though, about the Ravens is we haven't faced a running quarterback all season. Isn't that kind of unique? Like, we played how many games already? 15 games, and we haven't faced a running quarterback? How the hell does that happen, especially in today's NFL where it seems like every quarterback's a dual threat?
That's scary.
Yeah, probably the closest thing to it is Mahomes would be like someone that will leave the pocket. I also believe, though, I mean, I know it's jumping all over the place. You can't prepare for Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes is just so unique. You know, he's not Lamar Jackson, but when he leaves the pocket, you're like, oh my gosh, everything breaks down on the defensive side of the ball.
And you got to think too with the running quarterback, J.K. Dobbins is no slouch either. Even though I haven't seen him enough, he's no slouch.
When he's healthy, he's hurt all the time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he could be healthy then. All right, so Mark, I'm going to ask you real quick. Ravens are supposed to play the Jags right now. Number 4 against number 5. Jacksonville would be the host team. What's the line in that? What's the line in that game?
I think there would be. I'm guessing I'll go -2.5. Ravens. It goes
really
to 3.
On the road.
Yeah,
on the road.
I think the market will still disrespect Jacksonville for a little bit because of the Trevor Lawrence. I think also it will be a big factor is what are the reports out of the camp about Jackson? Is Jackson practicing? Is he looking good? Like what's the dealio with that? You know, I think that's gonna be a huge aspect.
They faced each other in Jacksonville a month ago today, and that was one of the best games of the season. Jaguars won 28-27. That's a game everybody's going to be watching to see who's going to win. I want to see Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. He was great in college in the playoffs. I know that doesn't really mean the same thing, but I want to see what he looks like.
By the way, if that does happen, and if I'm very, very wrong, that was a big, Dave, you really set me up there for genius or an idiot. So I like that. We should keep that for a segment. Genius or an idiot? And we just ask ourselves a very futuristic question.
Well, and the deal is, it's funny. If you would have asked me, and I'm just curious, I would have said just because they're the home team, it would have been Jacksonville -3. That's why I was kind of surprised that you went that route. But I know you pay attention to lines a lot more than I do. But I would just guess just because they're the home team, Jacksonville -3. If it was the Ravens, I would have said Baltimore -3. You know, if they were at home. But playoff football is so great. I mean, I am excited the Chargers are in it. I just want them to go far. I don't want it to be one of these one and done, and that was good enough. And you go all the way back to January 2014, where the Chargers went to Cincinnati and pulled off that win. That's what you want. You want to get that playoff win. It's good for Justin Herbert's resume. It's good for Charger fans. It's good for LA Charger fans. You want to be excited to see that this team's going to do some damage in the postseason. I'll be honest with you. If we get by, and I say we get by Cincinnati, anything could happen. Anything can happen in this team. And they're one of the few teams in the NFL right now that are getting healthier, where you're seeing other teams that all of a sudden are starting to break down.
Yeah, unbiasedly, the first round playoff games, the Chargers and Bengals would absolutely be the best game by far. In the AFC right now, you have the Dolphins and Chiefs. You think that'd be a blowout. And then you got the Ravens and Jaguars. There's not much going on there from a talent perspective. Chargers and Bengals has to be the game you're watching in the AFC. The NFC is pitiful too, man. You got the Giants and the 49ers, the Cowboys and the Bucks, Commanders and Vikings. Good God. So I'm definitely hyped for the Chargers Bengals if that happens.
But it's funny you say that, because if you look at it, Mario, what he just said, I think all of us right now would pick exactly the same. We just pick winners in the NFC. I don't think there'd be any disagreement. You guys all agree? Like Vikings, Commanders, we're all going Vikes. 49ers, Giants, we're all going Niners. Buccaneers, Cowboys, we're going with the Cowboys on the road, right?
Yeah.
Mario, you the same?
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's funny. So I got to ask you, because I said to you guys 3 months ago, I thought the Niners, even when they had a losing record, I thought the Niners were I think I picked them as the team to beat in the NFC. I just thought there was too much talent. Then when they got McCaffrey, now they're basically on their third quarterback. And you're going, where the hell did this come from? Could they keep it going? And yet, not only they keep it going, the Niners have never looked better than they do right now. I mean, we talk about McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and all the weapons they have. All of a sudden, they're using Kittle, and you're going, man, he's always been there, but they just never use him. Now they use him like the Patriots used to use Gronk, and you're going, how do you stop this 49er team? All right, out of the teams in the NFC, who you guys sold on right now? If you had a bet your house today, who's coming out of the NFC to represent the Super Bowl?
49ers. I think 49ers are actually the best team in the NFL, better than any team in the AFC.
I completely agree. Debo's not even healthy right now. So when he comes back too, I would tell Debo, we don't need you in the first. Like if you can't go, if you're not 100%, that's fine. I wouldn't fear the Giants. I don't think you have anything to worry about against the Giants. I'd tell them, hey, let's wait it out. We'll need you in the second round against Minnesota, and then after Minnesota, you have Philly. And also, quick take, real quick. Hot take. We don't do hot takes, but quick hot take. Mistake by Dallas by sweeping the Eagles. Big mistake. Big mistake. It's gonna come right back around, really bite you in the butt, and in the playoffs, really gonna bite.
Do you? So what? Well, they split with the Eagles, right? They split because weren't the Commanders the team that gave the Eagles their first loss? Was that a split?
Oh my God, yeah, they split. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Winning this last one,
yes,
I thought it was not.
So do you think? Okay, let's throw out cowboy talk real quick, all right? Because I hate cowboy talk more than anything in sports. It honestly bothers me the most. I've made a pact with myself that if I get up in the morning and I flip on a national television show and they're talking Cowboys, I'll change it immediately because the Cowboys get unfair publicity compared to everybody else. I don't even know why. Dallas isn't even close to the market size that Chicago, LA, or New York is, but yet everything goes around the Dallas Cowboys, and that's just what it is. I understand TV ratings work out that way as well. But when you look at the Cowboys, yeah, I do think they get that one playoff win against the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. And then at the same time, you go, okay, what would happen to them next? Are you guys sold on Dallas? And by the way, they're still talking OBJ still joining that team. Are you guys like, how far do the Cowboys go? I mean, the Cowboys, you just said it, Mara, they aren't better than the Eagles, not in Philadelphia. They aren't better than the Niners on the road. Right? Am I wrong on this, or the Cowboys
you're
not winning again?
Sorry, I'm pulling it up right now. But dude, they've given up so many points the last whatever amount of games. It's ridiculous. That defense is legit sucks. It's the Micah Parsons show and a bunch of guys on that team. Vander Esch, by the way, is like the most hurt player in NFL history. That dude never plays.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa is like, yeah, dude, what the hell is going on? No, that defense legit sucks. If the 49ers somehow play the Cowboys, they're going to put up 60 points because that's how bad the Cowboys defense is.
Yeah.
No, they're bad right now. And, you mentioned Vander Esch always hurt. Before that, Sean Lee. Sean Lee was like 1 in 6 games. Dude, that guy was batting 10% and playing football. No, I agree. I'm not sold on this defense at all, especially recently. They've sucked. There goes the AirPod. They've sucked. They've been bad. I'm not convinced on Dak at all can win you much. Philly puts up that many points to Gardner Minshew. I understand it's a big game plan adjustment from a mobile quarterback to a guy more staying in the pocket. But he puts up that much points on you. Third time coming around. I'll take Sirianni over McCarthy any day of the week. You want OBJ? Fine. Just fine. I mean, when the signings came around, people were like, yeah, doesn't seem like he's 100% healthy. He wants more than people are offering to give him. You're going to have him learn a playbook in a week. Go ahead. By all means. He's not the type of guy that have a meltdown on the sidelines because he doesn't get the pass thrown to him.
The Cowboys the Cowboys are the Clippers. They're signing all these big names. It doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah.
Okay, T.Y. Congratulations. So what? Yeah, he made a great catch in the game. Yeah, T.Y. Hilton, that's your big move. And OBJ, how about guys that can still play? OBJ, I really doubt OBJ is going to make any type of impact on the Cowboys. Like, seriously, you can't just show up like that.
I completely agree. I think it's the most overhyped thing. I'm like, okay, if you want him, okay. Like, game plan's not adjusted. It's the same. It's not CMC.
All right. All right, before we get on out of here, I want to ask you one quick question because this is one of those rumor stories that's going around the NFL. And I know myself, I'll forget to even ask you guys in a couple days. But the rumor is Tom Brady is not going anywhere, except he is leaving Tampa Bay at the end of the season. You know, we actually spoke off there a lot about quarterbacks who all of a sudden the end of their career just happens. And they're like, wow, what do you do now? Didn't see that coming. Brady had a great year in 2021. 2022 hasn't been good. He hasn't been able to pull out some wins, but he has not looked like Tom Brady, the greatest football player of all time. The rumor is Tom Brady, the two teams he's interested in playing for next year in 2023, the Miami Dolphins and the San Francisco 49ers. Does he make either one of those teams better if he goes to either the Dolphins or he goes to the Niners? Could you see them, number one, have an interest in him? Two, does he make them better than what they are right now?
You go, Mario.
Cool. Dolphins, yes. Because Tua's great quarterback, but I mean, with
career could be over.
Career could be over. That's a very real reality. Like that, he could be done. Very real. An insane receiving core. The only thing I'm worried about though with Brady is they push the ball down the field a lot. Obviously, Brady's arm's still great, but like when you get older, the first thing that goes is the arm. So it's like, we're gonna cut back on that many deep balls. Brady, yes. Niners, it's a car that's working great. You can upgrade the oil; it's still working great. Still, you know what I'm saying? Like it's still going. So like Niners, I don't think it's that big. So just because I'm like, dude, it's already a well-oiled machine. Where Dolphins, they need the boost. So that's why I would say that. What do you think, Josh? Make me sound like an idiot.
I'm with you. You said it right. The 49ers still believe Trey Lance is the guy.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that believe that. But he makes sense with the Dolphins. Tua has to take in serious consideration of not playing football anymore if he gets another concussion. Maybe at this point he doesn't play with everything he's been through. The Miami Dolphins, Dave said it yesterday, have handled this whole thing terribly. I mean, I feel so bad for Tua, the person. Forget football and everything else. He really needs to see what his future holds. And then Tom Brady with Jalen Waddle throwing it underneath, he could do that all day long. The deep passes to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle might be tough, but he can still do it if he gets protection. These Buccaneer games are bad. Tom Brady has no time to throw the ball, and he looks bad in general. I would like to see him with some fast receivers. He always does well when you get him some guys in the slot.
Here's my opinion on with Brady. Number one, I don't think the Niners thing ever happens. I think that was always his dream. He grew up as a Niners fan. They all the talk about how he was at the game when Dwight Clark made the catch, that Joe Montana threw him to, threw the ball to, that changed the 49ers basically path into greatness. His family's back there. His mom and dad are getting older. We all know about the cancer scare that his mom had, that I'm sure he would love to be back in the Bay Area as a swan song. I don't think the Niners give him that opportunity. You mentioned Trey Lance. There's no reason for the Niners to run from Trey Lance. The Niners have a bigger problem right now if Brock Purdy takes them all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, you got a guy that nobody heard of that all of a sudden people thought was a NASCAR driver with that name, all of a sudden winning a Super Bowl for you, and they look fantastic. What do you do? The Dolphins, I mean, who wouldn't want to play for the Dolphins with all the weapons they have? My opinion, Tom Brady ends up on one of two teams, and you guys tell me if I'm nuts right now. Give me another chance to
Raiders.
tell me I'm way wrong. Raiders with Josh McDaniels, his old coach, or with the Titans, with his old teammate, and Mike Vrabel. Now the Titans don't have any weapons. That right there would be a huge turnoff if you're Tom Brady. But couldn't you see him going to Las Vegas?
The Raiders makes the most sense more than the Miami Dolphins. Closer back to home, you got Devontae Adams, you got Hunter Renfrow, who fits the profile of certain players he's played with before. And then he has a great running back in Josh Jacobs if he stays. So Raiders 100% makes the most sense. And his rivalry with Mahomes is underrated. Those guys low-key have a great rivalry.
That would be my reasoning he doesn't go. You have Mahomes twice. And you have Herbert twice. Yeah, those are 4 hard games. So that's why, too, when people are like, would him leaving the Buccaneers, dude, you're walking with a limp, and you're going to make it into the playoffs in that division. So it's that's the other thing. And so that's why Niners make a lot of sense, because it's like, who do you have to face twice a year? Kyler Murray? Sign me up. Rams? Sign me up. Like Seattle? They could probably get Bryce Young, but sign me up. The only thing I have for the Dolphins real quick.
Yeah.
So let's say they look towards the draft, which is arguably they can't because they don't have a first-round pick. They traded it to the Niners. who then traded to the Broncos, I think, if I'm reading that right. Would you? This is my crazy conspiracy. Crazy conspiracy. I got this text from family members. So it's, again, crazy conspiracy. There is a team in the top 3 that will sell their pick very fast. If you're Miami and you go, we really do think CJ Stroud's the next big thing, next Mahomes, would you say, let's separate the two? Let's separate Waddle. Let's separate Hill. Let's send Waddle for the top 3 pick and go. You wouldn't do it?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it? Okay.
Would you? Obviously, you would, the way you're talking.
Yeah, you sound like you want to go with it.
If you are very for sure, like
but nobody's a lock.
Yeah, exactly. No one's a lock. But I'm saying, like, if you're sitting there going, I literally think that's Jesus Christ himself as CJ Stroud. I'm saying this for family, for conspiracy theory. And
is this Detroit family, Chicago family, Indiana family? Which family are we talking?
This is Chicago, and they're coming in hard on this because they're like saying they get Waddle, and then you go, yeah, because Bears have. It's been like a rumor that they'll sell that pick, which I think's stupid in own right. Go get Will Anderson, but
Will Anderson I would take. Well, there's a guarantee with a defensive end, not a guarantee with a quarterback. I mean, just look at when Mahomes came out. I mean, I don't think any of us would turn down Mahomes, but yet look where Mahomes was taken as far as the quarterbacks go. I mean, there are guys in front of him that haven't done as well.
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah. Was Josh Rosen in that draft too? Am I wrong on that? Yeah.
Different draft.
Different draft?
Different draft.
Okay. So, anyway,
Deshaun Watson was that draft.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, no, I'm not I don't know, man. I hate to say, man, these quarterbacks on what I see and what actually happens. I mean, when guys bomb out, it's easy to say, I told you that guy was going to stink. You just don't know with the quarterback position. I'm not exactly sure what they would do. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't give it to Waddle. I think Waddle's best years are still in front of him.
I've watched every Bryce Young game at Alabama. I have no idea if he's going to be any good at the NFL. I watch every single snap he's taking at Alabama.
Me too.
No idea what he's going to be with any team in the NFL.
I do know he beat CJ Stroud's ass in high school, though. Yeah. You know,
facts.
I do know.
I'd be iffy. I'm iffy on Will Levis. I don't know about that guy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think people are kind of yerking him a little around too much.
A little bit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A little too. I think he's getting like a little too much love.
Yeah, way too much, dude.
Yeah, I agree with that. Way too much love. Yeah.
Him and Richardson for Florida. I don't know where the hell that's coming from.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying he's gonna be like Zach Wilson done after 2 years, but I'm saying he's getting way too much love. I think people need to, get off the knees.
All right. Well, that show went longer than what we thought we were going to do. But it's funny. I mean, I could easily go into the 30 minutes talking to you guys as far as what we see in the playoff picture, where we think free agents are going to end up. And, of course, we're going to be doing Bolt City podcasts throughout the entire year. It's going to be really fun as we get closer to the draft as well. But it is exciting. It's almost like an easy breath knowing the Chargers are in the postseason. The best is yet to come. For this season, the most exciting part of the season. But we're going to be back in 2 days. Of course, we'll have our predictions. We'll get more excited about what's going to happen on Sunday, on January 1st, when obviously the Rams and the Chargers face at SoFi Stadium. But we'll see you in 2 days. For Josh Pele, Mario Heron, I'm Dave Pele. Again, thanks for listening to the Bolt City podcast, courtesy of Odyssey.